Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Candice Turner and I am sitting here with Sandee Mott at the Women Leaders Convention here in Kansas City, where we are going to be talking about owning it. So I've got a lot of questions to ask her, so we're going to have a great conversation and looking forward to hearing some of these answers. So Sandee, thank you for sitting with me today.
Well, absolutely, thank you for including me.
Of course. So we're going to get right into it. You are coming off of two of your best years in the Learfield Directors Cup. Share with us a little bit, how does that success feel while you're at Texas Women's University?
Well, thank you for recognizing that. But yes, absolutely. You know, we think a rising tide lifts all boats, and we've had some really fun times since COVID in terms of adding sports and bringing in some new athletes, and then just our existing sports really rising the level of their games as well. So it's been a lot of fun to see our coaches' hard work pay off.
Nice.
And to see the athletes smile each day and know that you know, their efforts. And you know, we really are really embedded in building leaders every day, and so we talk about champions in the classroom. You know, our athletic department has a 3.6 cumulative GPA.
Oh, impressive. Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
And then, you know, we worked almost 3,000 hours of community service last year as a single gender athletic department. And then, of course, you know, winning some championships along the way as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's amazing. So you mentioned a couple of things there. So 5 years ago, you took over at the helm.
Yes.
What was your vision at that point for the department? And then part two, how are you leading up to and leaning into that vision in this current day?
Well, I wish I could take credit for that vision. So when I interviewed in fall of 2019, the chancellor and the vice president spoke very highly of a strategic plan they had to grow athletics, to see what the value it was bringing to the university and the community, and grow that. And they said, you know, we've already identified some teams we want to bring, and how do you feel about that? And I'd kind of come from a background of two previous institutions where we added sports, and so I think that was probably why I was attractive to them in the moment. So I embraced that wholeheartedly. So I showed up on January 2nd, 2020, and we had 5 teams and 96 student athletes.
Wow.
And this fall we have 9 teams and 217 student athletes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you, thank you. So I think we've been very strategic about the types of sports we are adding. You just can't go anywhere to do these. We're really, you know, something that we can really recruit North Texas and all of Texas to come and really join with us on that. So women's wrestling has been a phenomenal sport, and you know, a roster of over 30 every year, and you know, and we hired an Olympian to lead us. So Randy,
you can't go wrong with that, right?
So we need to give Randy Miller her props for being a bronze medalist in the Olympics. And then, you know, we added artistic swimming, which is the rebranded synchronized swimming.
Yes.
You know, 19 student athletes from 9 countries.
Oh, and that's amazing.
So it just
very diverse.
Yes, completely changes the dynamic of our athletic department, and to have those young women on our campus and learn from them and their cultures has been really outstanding too. And then, you know, the fastest growing sport is stunt.
Yes, I was going to say.
And so so we brought stunt on board, and again, just really thriving. And then we brought the dance team, even though it's a non-NCAA sport, under our umbrella as well.
Well, that's wonderful. So thinking about that, you have some non-NCAA and championship opportunities there.
Right.
So how do you measure success with those two different things?
You know, you really have to look at who their peers are, right? So easy to compare with inside, right? You know, our gymnastics program, 13-time national champion, and everybody's like, well, we all...
Not too shabby.
Yeah, but you know, you got to compare, you know, stunt to stunt, and not stunt to our gymnastics program, and that sort of thing. And so, you know, who are our competitors? Are we giving our student athletes that opportunity to be successful against them? And I believe that that's probably our biggest strength right now, is that we're benchmarking, not so much internally, but with our peer institutions, and making sure our athletes have what they need to be successful in the arenas they're in.
Now, I love that. So you mentioned benchmarking against peer institutions. Now, you were once at a conference office.
I was.
So share with us a little bit of how that experience has helped you kind of own this space.
I'll tell you, working at the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference was the absolute best thing I could have done as I transitioned out of coaching. I don't know that I could have stayed on campus in that moment and been around a women's basketball team
Gotcha.
and not been involved in
Okay.
it. And so going to the conference office and just, man, hitting the ground running with 19 championship sports at that time. The RMAC has grown since then.
Yes, I know.
You know, working with officials, working with institutional presidents, working with faculty athletic reps. You know, just all of that allowed me to, one, grow my knowledge base and grow my network, but it also just got me out of that day-to-day, all-day basketball kind of mindset.
Okay.
And that was good for me. But you know, after 3 or 4 years at the conference office, you realize you don't like being Switzerland.
Yeah.
You know, you can't.
You want to have a position.
You know, and you want to cheer for a team, right? You want to have that. I'm still very competitive. Don't get me wrong on that. I'm not coaching every day, but I'm super competitive still. And so, you know, an opportunity to get back on campus where you can really invest in those teams and want to see them win. But the conference office was phenomenal for me. And allowed me to really transition out of coaching and just learn so much more about a wide range of areas.
Oh, that's amazing. So we're at Women Leaders Convention, right?
Yeah.
So we're women leaders in sports. We're talking about owning it in every room.
Right.
And it sounds like you were able to do that on a number of fronts. So share with us a little bit, how do you manage all of these different stakeholders and constituents? So obviously no longer Switzerland. You can own a position.
Yeah.
But how do you manage that within your current space, sitting in the chair?
Well, you know, it's just one of those situations where you've got to be where your feet are.
Okay.
You know, whichever room you're in the moment, you've got to be super present and you've got to be making sure that you're taking care of those needs. So when I'm in a coaches meeting, it's got to be about those coaches because they're the front line to the student athletes. You know, and I want to make sure every student athlete has the best experience, and I'm not going to be the one running around all day taking care of their needs. Our coaches and our staff are, right?
Right.
So I've got to support them at the highest level. You know, when we're at a maroon and white lunch with our donors and that, I've got to be present in that moment, and I've got to be talking to them and sharing the story and listening to them communicate with me about what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're excited about, what they're curious about, what they're maybe not so happy about in the moment.
Of course,
those
you
sort of
take
things.
It all. Yeah,
you know, and then the same thing. I'm very blessed to be invited to the Board of Regents meetings.
Oh, wonderful.
Each quarter.
Okay.
And so when I'm in those rooms, you know, again, be present, be where your feet are, listen to the folks in those rooms and really learn from them, but also hear what their concerns are and am I meeting the needs of the greater university mission on a day-to-day basis. So
that sounds amazing. You are definitely owning it in a number of spaces. So I want to switch gears here. Okay. So you think about being where your feet are. So how do you take that kind of institutional knowledge that you have in your role on the Management Council? Now, I know you're rolling off here in January, but share with us how that experience has been.
What an amazing experience. You know, I had been in the Lone Star Conference just a few short months when the Lone Star representative transitioned out of athletics, and so they needed a replacement. And so I was...
You were in the right room.
Yeah, I was a little bit... you know, I put my name in the hat, but I didn't know if the Lone Star administrators would vote for me at that time because I'd been so new. But I think it also hit going into the fall when so many of them were busy with football, and so they're like, Sandee wants it, let her take it, run with it. So I really do see that, though, as really twofold. Not only am I Sandee Mott, Director of Athletics at TDUB, but I am the Lone Star Conference rep. The Management Council is made up from representatives from each conference. And so I do have to see the bigger picture of all of our 18 members now, you know, and that, and we have football, we have non-football, we have public, we have private. We're in 3 different states, 4 at the time that I actually took the position. So it really is about more than just what Sandee thinks. It really is about what is best for all of Division II and very specifically, you know, the student athletes of the Lone Star.
I love that. So taking that a step further, we know that there's a lot of shifting landscape issues going around, and I don't want to always call them issues, and some people call them noise and whatever adjective we put on it. What do you think is the current state of D2 and where are we going?
I'll tell you, I think there are some people who see everything as a catastrophe and others who see everything as an opportunity. And in this very short time, I hope you've learned that I'm an opportunity kind of person.
Yes, I can tell. I can feel your energy on that. Yes.
You know, and things are different. But different doesn't always have to be bad. You know, there was a time when women's athletics wasn't even included in the NCAA. And when that was ready to happen, there were a lot of people going, oh, what's going to happen? And I think history has shown us that it's turned into a really great opportunities.
We're in the room now.
Yep.
Yep, we're in the room.
And our student athletes are winning those championships, and they're on ESPN or other, and I probably shouldn't be talking about brands.
It's okay.
So, but you know what I'm talking about.
Talk about brands. Do your thing.
You know, so change doesn't have to be bad.
Yes.
You know, the unknown, you know, and so I just think that right now we've got a chance to really be the leaders and step out in some courage and not wait to react to what's happening around us. And, you know, I don't want to pull back the reins. I want to look at the possibilities, and let's go in with both feet and let's make things happen. And so, you know, we have just a few short months left before I roll off, but I know that the D2 is in good hands. We've got great leaders across the nation. We've got great leaders at the NCAA office, and so I think we're going to continue to do that and just
I love that.
continue to advance what we've got going.
I love that. And I mean, I love the energy that you have behind it, the optimistic nature that you have. Just knowing that we have so many things that we can look forward to, no matter what's changing. History shows us that we can do this.
Absolutely.
We can do this. It ebbs, it flows, but we can do this.
Absolutely.
So one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about is thinking about like the strategic advantage that you've had, right? And I'm going to say that because just talking to you, I can tell that that coach is still in there, right? You're getting me pumped up about just being an administrator. So share with us, what is that strategic edge that you feel like you have that has allowed you to be successful in your career? And what would you give advice to maybe a young person coming in this industry now? How to get that strategic edge?
Well, I think you always want to be prepared, but you can't be rigid.
Oh,
and so I believe that as a coach, we always have halftime adjustments, and sometimes we have several in-game adjustments on the fly. You know, and I was fortunate enough to coach basketball where you could call timeouts. I don't know how soccer coaches do it without any breaks, and they're making
listen, I went to
changes
the
on the fly.
KC Curry game, and I was like, this is intense. Okay.
Yeah. You know, so just being able to have the overall vision, but know there's not just one path to get there, and be willing to be flexible and change up things when you see that, hey, the end goal is still the same, but the route there is going to be a little different, so we can be more successful on our way there. And so I think that would be the most of be prepared, but don't be rigid.
Okay, so having some flexibility and some agility there.
Absolutely.
I love that. So shifting another gear here. So we have had a lot of changes in women leaders in sports, like what this convention has looked like, the number of people that have come. It used to be only for collegiate. Now we've expanded a little bit more, right? So what is that one piece of advice that you would say that how do you maintain the balance, right? You know, women have so many different things that they are navigating through. How do you maintain the balance in doing this work?
Well, I think you have to define balance. Because if a lot of people want to see balance as 50-50 even on a scale, and I just don't think that's true, a reality for anybody in any work, in, you know, in anything you do. So I think you have to really pick, you know, kind of the, oh goodness here, you know, kind of the ebbs and flows with that, but also know that, again, I'm going to go back to, you know, saying like be where your feet are. So when I'm at work, I'm at work, but when I'm out of work, try really to take that time and, you know, and do with, you know, with those friends, family, just sitting by myself, you know, whatever that looks like, and taking that recharge time. But it's never going to be balanced in that sort of thing. And so,
and the reason I asked that question about balance is because I think we really need to put that out there. I think with as we work across the generations now, we have baby boomers to, I don't know what letter we're on, Y, millennials, zennials, whatever they're called. But we are working across the generations, and I always ask that balance question because I want young people to know, as well as like people that have been in the industry for a while, it's maybe more about integration. And how do you be where your feet are, and how do you make sure that you are feeding into yourself? So I love that answer. I think it's 100%.
And so many people talk about balance like if you're not balanced, you're doing it wrong. And I don't want people to feel that way either, because I mean, I love my job, and so I don't feel like I'm out of balance when I'm working my job and things. And I'm there's the time of the year that I just need to be more hours in my job. I don't feel like that's some type detrimental to me. And so I don't want to, again, I think that's that glass half full side of me that, you know, isn't looking for the catastrophe if I'm out of balance. I mean, to me, that is balance, because I'm doing something I love at a season in my life that I'm able to do it and love it.
I love that. So thinking about, obviously, a all-women's institution and athletics department, what are some of the unique challenges that you've seen as you've been in this position now for 5 years? Yeah, 5 years this year?
Yes. So unique challenges. It's just really fun to, having been, this is like year 33 for me in college athletics.
Amazing.
And I want everyone to know I've loved every opportunity I've been given. I love men's sports. To this day, I miss myself some track, I miss some baseball, some of those things. But there isn't that conflict in the room in terms of where's the money going to go, where's the budgets happening, and those sort of things. And so the fact that it's very unique that every day and every dollar that we get to pour into the lives of young women.
That's amazing.
And set them up for lifelong success. Because I believe that's why we all do this work, is that the skills they're learning in athletics are transferable to the rest of their life. And that's the end game. The end game isn't a championship. That's a wonderful
amazing.
step.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
But it's not the end game.
Yes.
The end game is that they graduate, and knowing that they can do hard things, and that the skills that they've earned along the way are going to make them very successful the rest of their life.
So women athletics, we're having a moment.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, we've always had a moment. I just think now other people are recognizing it. So how do you feel like you can position your institution, your athletics department, in this current climate where all eyes are on women in sports?
Yeah, I don't know that we have to change too much of what we do. I think we just continue to do the work and share the story with the new means that we're given, right? Because more eyes are on it. We have that bigger platform, but we continue, the story hasn't changed.
That's right.
We just use the avenues that are being afforded us right now to continue to step to the mic, be in front of the cameras, to be on the social media, to do whatever we need to do so more people hear it, but the story certainly hasn't changed.
I love it. So the theme this year, in every room, own it.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? What does own it mean to you?
It just means so many different things, and again, but I really do believe that it means that women now know, and I think they can be more confident.
Yes.
And I heard the word this morning to be unapologetic, and I think that's part of it as well.
100%.
And but I also think owning it is having those allies, and the fact that that they're going to also be there for you, and you don't have to, come full force, bulldoze any of that thing. You just you have to be authentic, and you have to be confident because you are competent, and just go on and just go in and do the things you need to do, and not worry, not stress over the things you can't control anyway. Other people's perceptions are always going to be other people's perceptions. So just do the work because you know your why.
Man. Your student athletes have to love you. Your coaches have to love you. I'm telling you, you just pump people up with just the optimism it permeates through everything that you're saying, and being able to be present and still have that optimism and know, we're built for this. We can do this.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So I'm going to give you the last comment here. Is there anything that you want young women that are working in this industry, what is the one thing you want them to know?
Well, 100% get engaged in organizations like this. If they're involved in the NCAA, certainly get involved in the NCAA leadership and governance structures in that, because I think it does matter 100%. I'm old enough to remember NACWA.
Yep, I was in NACWA.
And at a time when I was probably in my third job when we were going through the search to hire Patty Phillips.
Wow.
I mean, I'm predate the Patty Phillips era, right? And just to see how this organization has transformed, and I would ask the young women to always look to the older people in the profession, and I would encourage all of us to remember that we need to lift while we rise, and just continue to pour into the next generation. But the next generation has to be open to that as well.
That's right, for sure. It's a two-way street.
Yeah, come in with your eyes wide open and your vision and all that, but also, we can learn so much from those who came before us. We don't have to do it exactly the way they did it, but let's learn. I mean, one of my favorite things is to meet with the alumni, because as I learn about the past, that's going to direct the work I do in the future for Texas Women's.
Oh, I love it. Sandee, you are impressive.
Well, thank you, young lady. I've enjoyed this.
No, this has been great. And I'm edified just by our conversation, and I hope that some of the nuggets that you shared really land with some women in sport and men in sport who are going to watch this and just have that optimism and care for the work that you do. So kudos to you.
Well, thank
and
you.
thank you so much for the opportunity. The pleasure truly has been mine.
Thank you so much. It's been great.